Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure, really a great pleasure to welcome back Justin Thomas, the PGA of America 2020 Player of the Year, who is competing in his 5th Masters tournament. Justin, you're coming into this event ranked number 3 in the world. You've won 3 times this year alone. And maybe you could share with us how you feel coming into the tournament, preparation, and after actually being here. And I think you played yesterday, played around, and then we'll open it up for questions. Justin?
Yeah, I'm obviously excited to be here. This is probably my favorite event of the year, one of my favorite courses. I enjoy everything about it. It's just fun. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's just every time going out there and playing, it's, I feel like I know the course so well, and I still just enjoy hitting all the shots and kind of doing the same stuff that I feel like I already know. But it's at this point, it's just about getting rest and really just going out and executing come Thursday. I feel like I've prepared well. I got a good bit of rest after Vegas and LA, and worked on some stuff I felt like I needed to work on. But like I said, at this point, it's just about getting it done once we teed up.
Great. Thank you. We'll open it up to questions, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir.
Justin, you played with Bryson yesterday. Can you just talk about his length off the tee and what does it do here at a place like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a substantially easier golf course for him than it is for everybody else. It's to me, he's not hitting it any further than he was the last time I played with him. I think once he starts messing with that longer driver and has a little bit more free time, then he might, as crazy as it is, be able to hit it further. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of holes that he actually pretty much every hole he's going to have a pretty distinct advantage over everybody. I mean, you look at a hole like 2, he's got a 90-yard wide fairway pretty much, and he could be flipping anything from a 9 to a 7-iron in there, and he's obviously still has to execute, hit the shots, and make the putts, but I sure would like to be hitting from his tee shots as opposed to mine distance-wise. But no, I mean, it's very impressive what he's done. I still think the fact that he hits it as straight as he does, as far as he does, is extremely impressive. And he's definitely gotten a lot of players to kind of change their mentality, or at least try to pick up some yardage. But I think I've said before, I don't exactly have 240 in the bag for weight. I don't exactly have the height for that. But no, it's impressive, and it's a very gettable golf course for him.
Steve?
Well, I'd answer one of my questions. You have not been tempted to try to gain 40 pounds of muscle and just swing as hard as physics will allow?
I mean, I already swing it pretty hard. That's not something I'm lacking. I mean, he's put on a lot of weight. I don't necessarily think 40 pounds of muscle. He's just eating everything in sight, and he's working out a lot. And he's gotten huge. He's just absolutely, he's jacked, and he's got the frame for it, which is, again, something I don't have. But I have zero desire to put on 50 or 40 pounds. I mean, I could put on 10 and it'd be a good 10 pounds. But, I mean, I don't need to hit it 370 yards or 340 yards in the air to win every tournament. I feel like I hit it plenty far enough that if I get a little bit better in other aspects, I can contend and win every single tournament I play. But now, that being said, would I like to hit it that far? Yes, but it's just not realistic for me. And, I'm just about optimizing what I have at the moment, but I just need to, I need to continue to be good at what I'm good at. Kind of going down a wormhole, I feel like although it can be productive, it can also hinder you, I think, more than anything.
Can I ask, is there any real difference about playing this place in November than April, or is it all just subtleties?
Yeah, it's definitely subtleties. I mean, the ball doesn't sit near as well around the greens. I think with a little bit of both the Bermuda and the overseed coming in, you're going to have some sketchy lies around the greens. Balls that are sitting down to where you're not going to be able to get the spin that you're used to getting, especially chipping up to the elevated greens, or when you need to kind of spin one, hold it against a slope or whatever it is. But I think you're gonna see that over the course of the week. Definitely some chips that kind of come out high and knuckly and with a lot of topspin on it. But I mean, everybody has to deal with it. Everyone's playing the exact same golf course, so you can't complain or or make a fuss about it because everyone's teeing it up in the same spot on Thursday. So it is what it is. And obviously the no fans thing I think is pretty self-explanatory. So I don't really need to go into that.
John?
Appreciate it. Just curious, with all that's going on this year with COVID, all the political and social upheaval, to what extent has golf been a refuge for you as much as a living in terms of, practice and playing tournaments and just being in that world?
Yeah, I mean, we're all lucky, but I mean, I'm obviously myself included, extremely fortunate that we have, I think it ended up, what was it, 3 months that we were off, I think, something like that. But we're very fortunate that we were able to do what we normally do and what we love basically the entire year. And I mean, I said it at one point in the press conference, I think when we started up, is that, there were so many people, so many small businesses, so many people, that run big companies that had to just change everything so much. And we're in such a deep hole that we are so lucky to be able to continue to do this and be able to play the Masters. Yeah, it sucks without fans, but it sucks a lot less than if we weren't even playing the tournament. You know what I mean? So it's just, it is. I hope it's been something positive, not only for us, but for everybody. The people at home, I think the game of golf has grown so much since March. It's gotten people to go out, be outside, be active, and hopefully be able to watch a little bit more on TV, because there's been a lot of great tournaments and a lot of great storylines. And, this week is, I'm sure, going to produce some more.
Doug?
Curious, playing with Bryson yesterday, was that an accident or something that was planned? Wouldn't it have been better not to look?
What's that?
Wouldn't it have been better not to look?
No, I mean, I knew coming in. I mean, I've already ran through hole by hole in my head of how easy, a lot of the drives are going to be for him compared to everybody else. But, I mean, I've seen it before. It's not like I'd never played with him, and it just confirmed what I already knew. I mean, I knew that he was going to have sand or gap wedge into 13, and I was going to have to hit a really good drive and turn it around those trees that he flies it over. That's just the fact of the matter. So, holes like that and 15 are par fours for him and par fives for everybody else. But it is what it is.
And then secondly, as we talk about traditions that are missing this year under the circumstances, I'd be curious, when you got to 16, either of your 2 days, did you bother skipping it, or is that something for the fans? How'd you approach that?
It's definitely for the fans. Sunday we were going to skip, and we had a group of members behind us, and they were on the 15th green, so we didn't feel the need to hold them up. And then yesterday, Tiger and Freddie didn't really want to, and I kind of do whatever they say around this place. So I'm 0 for 2.
Jim?
Justin, just curious, what's your Masters bubble compared this year compared to past years? Different house, fewer guests. Is that part of it different than past years?
It's not anything crazy. I mean, obviously you have people or family, whatever it is, come, but I'm not hosting them. They're not staying in the same house as me. I've always done it where I get 2 houses. I get a house for me and who I want in the house, and then have a house I have like 3 of my best friends from high school, middle school that come, and then some other family members. And quite frankly, I don't really care who stays in that house. That's why I have it. It's theirs to. They can stay up as late as they want. They can have people sleep on the couch. I don't care. Just don't damage the house and don't screw up with me giving you my tickets. That's pretty much the 2 rules. And but in terms of who's in my house, I mean, still have my dad and have my chef, girlfriend, and this year I just have having a trainer stay with me. So it's not much different there. It's just more so, I don't see my buddies, have them over for dinner a night or whatever it is. But I usually try to keep it pretty low key during the week.
But without guests this year at the tournament, do you miss that, not having them? Or
Yeah, I do. It's just, it was always nice, if I needed to, because especially in April, there was quite a bit of sports on, or I feel like it was usually kind of during the NBA playoffs or maybe starting, but I always remember the Stanley Cup was kind of starting, or at least those playoffs were. So you know, they'd come over for dinner a couple times a week and we'd watch games together, and it just kind of took my mind off of the big picture and the big moment of what was going on. So I'll miss that, but nothing's going to stop me from still watching sports. I just won't be doing it with them.
Good. Alan?
Random question. Is this the only press conference all year where you take your hat off?
Yeah, probably. I keep my hat on as often as I can, but I respect the rules. If places want me to take it off, I have no problem with it.
Do you worry about the hat head when you come in here?
Not really. I'm sure my hair doesn't look exactly great right now, but luckily I wear a hat for my job, so I just got to get through this press conference and I'll be okay.
Steve?
Justin, do you take a different approach if you're going to tee off a 10 instead of teeing off a 1? Is there going to be much of a difference there?
I don't think so. I wish I could answer because I haven't done it before. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say, but it is going to be weird hitting a snipe hook as your first tee shot of the day. It's, you know, that's a tee shot I've been comfortable with, but I've also hit many shots until then. You know, like I've hit enough to where I feel like I can aim it right and shut a driver down and consistently turn it. But when I haven't hit a shot on the golf course yet, it could be a little bit different. Hopefully it isn't, but I think that's just going to be weird. You might see a little bit more squirrely tee shots on 10 this year than normal because, like I said, when you're able to kind of get in a little bit of a rhythm, you at least can kind of figure out what you're doing to step up on that tee. But, you know, you have to turn it quite a bit there, so it could be a little different. But I don't think in terms of strategy and game plan on the golf course is going to change anything.
Mark?
Justin, you talked about Bryson being able to flip wedges on the long holes and taking it over trees instead of having to turn it over. At some point, does his length become too much of an advantage, or do you look at it as he put in the work, he made the changes to his body and his swing, and, you know, he deserves what he's getting?
Yeah, I think he deserves it. I mean, no offense to him, but he's not winning every tournament he's playing in, so it's clearly not too much of a disadvantage. You still have to get the ball in the hole. Although he has a big advantage, I still think that he wins tournaments he does because he still putts it really well. I mean, he's a great putter, and it's a very underrated part of his game. But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, he has put a lot of work in. He's done a lot of things that a lot of players aren't willing to do. You know, make life changes and swing changes and equipment changes and extreme body changes. And really, you know, he had an end goal, but you don't really know what's going to come out of it. You know what I mean? When you start, I mean, he could go into that and maybe tweak something and hurt himself and, you know, kind of put himself behind the 8 ball, but he hasn't done that. So he's earned it. I mean, he obviously, I wish he didn't have an advantage over me and everybody else, but the fact of the matter is that he does. And I just need to grow up and get over it because, I can still beat him like I can anybody else, but it just comes down to playing better.
Rex?
JT, you've played a lot with Tiger over the years, but when you have a round like yesterday on this particular golf course, given his record here, do you pay attention to some of the things he's doing maybe a little bit more?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm very happy that I've gotten into a yearly routine. I think probably the last 3 years of playing with Freddie and Tiger here, practice rounds, and no, I follow everywhere they go. Tiger's a little, I shouldn't say a little, Tiger is less willing to give me information than Freddie is. I know that if I ask Freddie, he'll answer, whereas Tiger this week probably won't answer. But I just watch where they chip from, and I pretty much just follow them around. When they do something, they leave. I go, it's like a station. Whenever they leave, I pretty much, go to the next spot. And there's a reason why they've been successful here, and they know how to get around here. They've played as often as they have, but that being said, I feel like I know the course pretty well too, but it definitely helps watching them go around here and kind of watch where they practice from because they know how to play the golf course.
Jim? Did you have a question, Jim?
Just curious, I've been reading lately, a lot of people say Justin Thomas is the best ball striker, best iron player on tour. If you could look at someone else's game, is there someone else's iron game that you like, or are you pretty satisfied with yours?
I'm very satisfied with mine. I mean, the only person on the planet that I would debate is Tiger. I mean, his iron game is absurd. It's so good. It's very solid. Yeah, I think plenty of people hit, you know, maybe more solid irons than me. They might have a prettier ball flight. They might hit it higher or turn it one way or the other. But just in terms of statistics speaking, the last couple of years, I would definitely take mine. But the only person, like I said, I would think about would be him.
Doug?
Feels like, Justin, when we left here last year and with Tiger winning and there was talk about resuming the chase for Jack, and here we are at the next Masters, and just given the year, it almost seems like he's an afterthought at this tournament. As much time as you spend with him, what do you make of his chances?
Yeah, I never, someone like him or Phil, I'd never take them out at a place like this. I think this course is so unique that you don't need to play great to have a chance to win. I think you just need to be playing okay. If you know the golf course, and you have to be chipping and putting well, but you could be hitting it okay and get it around this place more than okay. You know where to hit it, you know where not to hit it. There's certain holes, if you're not hitting it well, it's like, okay, well, as long as I miss it over here, I'll be all right. And nobody knows that better than someone like Tiger. So, you know, I think especially with the forecast the way that it is, it's not going to be too cold, which I know is helpful for him. And I know talking with him and Freddie had some kind words about potentially a cold master. He goes, there goes any chance I have it was going to be cold. So I'm sure he's happy to see the same. And no, I know that he takes his event so seriously. He takes them all, but he knows his place so well. And he knows that he has a big advantage, I think, over half the field before even teeing it up. If that answered your question.
Mark, last question from Mark, please.
JT, if you're in contention going into Sunday with the early tee times, is it a good or bad thing for you if Alabama does or does not play LSU?
I mean, we're going to beat them by about 70 if we play them, so I don't think it really makes a difference.
Thank you.
All right, JT, thank you for joining us today, and all the best this week.
Thank you.
Yep.